My husband always tells me, like, every time I'm like bitching about like some new thing happening where someone copied me, he's always like, well, like, can you blame them? Like, it's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yo soy Dante y esto es Dale Dale.
Del uno al otro no encuentro la esencia y el testigo no existe sin parcialidad.
I want to celebrate cool people. Like people doing creative stuff. You've had so many jobs and I think finally you're doing something that you love and you embrace.
Yeah. So I have had many, many jobs. And even though now I am doing what I love, I still have many jobs. So that has not changed.
Okay.
I feel like it's part of who I am. It's sometimes I feel like it sounds a little cocky, but like I'm good at a lot of things. Like, because something about me is that I'm really passionate about shit and I'm a perfectionist. I like to be good. So give me like any task and, you know, with the right attitude, I'm gonna go get it. Like, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I've had a lot of jobs. Let's start there.
You're from Puerto Viejo,
Sí.
right? How old were you when you came to the States?
So it was like a lot of transitions for me. So like the first time that I ever came to the States, I went to New York and I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old. And my parents one was living in New York, one was living in Puerto Viejo, and me and my sisters were going to school. So we were like back and forth. So I think that when I was actually like living without like going back and forth was when I moved to Charlotte in the 9th grade.
Do you like it?
So no, I didn't like it, and that was the reason why I could never stay, because I was just like, yeah, I just didn't.
I didn't like Charlotte when I first came here. I was 17 and I had so many restrictions. Like I couldn't drink, I couldn't drive, I couldn't do anything. And then the language, and then I didn't have any friends. And my mom was like, just go to school, make some friends, and then we talk. And I fell in love with the city, I guess, because it's grown. There's more activities now.
Oh yeah.
And then when I started traveling, it made me realize what a great city Charlotte is.
Yes.
Especially if you want to have kids, you know, it's a good balance.
Yeah.
But now you live in Miami.
Yes.
After how many years living in Charlotte?
So like I'm not really good at numbers. That's something that I will tell you. But I have been living in Miami for 2 years now. I know that. So you do the math. So yeah, I was living here in Charlotte for a long time. At first I didn't really like it. Didn't really like the United States, honestly. Like I just felt like it was cold, first of all. I was frozen always. Didn't understand shit. I did not know any English, like nothing. Like ni siquiera how are you, así nada. Like nada. So yeah, it was like a big like transition. I was like, for a little bit I was living in Queens, New York, like every time I was going back and forth, which was way colder. And then I didn't really need to learn English when I was there because there's so many Hispanics everywhere. So it was like fine.
When you went to school, was it in Spanish? Because I had friends from school that they went to school in New Jersey and all their classes were in Spanish.
Yeah, like in ESL. So you're just like in Spanish, and then the some of them that are in English, I was just chilling. Like I was just like, okay, en otro mundo.
And then you came to Charlotte.
So then
like
I came here and I'm
Southern.
like, whoa, there's mad Americans here. Like I'm like, oh, so this is really like, and then, you know, I was living in Seal Creek area, so like very like American.
Casi que farmland.
Yeah, like very white area. So I was like, oh shit, like I think I'm gonna have to learn English. Surprisingly, I like learned really fast because I had to make some friends and I had to be invited to some parties. So I was just like, oh, I guess like now I'm gonna have to fucking learn. And yeah, and then I liked white guys. So.
So let's talk about you're a yoga teacher, or what do you call yourself? Like, instruct me.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question because I don't really like labels. And like I said earlier, I'm a lot of different things. I'm like super multifaceted, always have been. So I like to say that I am a wellness entrepreneur.
Okay.
Or sometimes I say that I'm an artist because I am.
Yeah.
So it honestly, it just depends on like which part of my life we're concentrating on. But I think that in the like bigger umbrella is like wellness entrepreneur.
So having this many tasks, or not labels, because you don't like labels.
Yeah.
How do you manage time? Because that's something that I struggle with so much. And I would love to hear that. You know, how do you, when you wake up in the morning, like how many hours do you sleep?
This is a really good question because I don't know if you're familiar with human design. It's kind of like horoscopes, but you can see like exactly when you were born, and there's like a few things that you can be, and one of the like things that I am is a generator, which makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. So I'm kind of that. So I've never really been into sleeping. Like even as a kid, I hated when it was nighttime. So I don't think that I need a lot of resting hours. I feel very energized from like doing passion work.
Creating, okay.
So like I can get like last night when you came to Yogacella, so I had been like prepping all fucking day, and I had like a day full of calls. My Mondays are crazy. And then I was tired, but I was so excited that after like teaching and everything, I was still up. Because like just being there, doing like what I really love, just like gave me a lot more energy.
What was the first step to become a wellness coach?
So the first thing that I did when it came to wellness was I started to practice yoga. So practicing yoga asana, like physical practice of yoga, read a few books and was kind of hooked. And then the next step was I did a few trainings. So at first I was like, you know, this happens to a lot of yoga teachers, like, and I think it happens to a lot of people in general. Like we want to do something, but we're scared and we're not sure if we can do it. So we don't want to say, I want to be a yoga teacher. We're like, I'm going to do this training and then we'll see. It's for my personal practice. Like I just want to expand. I mean, I don't know. We tell ourselves this because we don't want to break our hearts if we fuck it up.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to do like a little training at a local yoga studio. It was yoga for kids.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I like kids. So kids like me. And kids don't give a fuck. So I was like, I can teach kids. So I did yoga for kids training. And then after that, I was like, I should do, like there was another training called for yoga, to be a yoga teacher assistant. So then I was like, I want to do that. Like always tiptoeing, right? But not like I would just fucking go ahead and say it. You want to teach yoga. But I didn't know that I wanted it. Or I did, but I didn't want to admit it. I'm not sure. I was afraid. So I did those 2 trainings before. And then working as a teacher's assistant, which is really whack, actually. That position doesn't exist in Miami. I think it might be like a Charlotte thing, honestly.
Okay.
So you do a training, and then you pay the studio a ton of money. And then if you're good, they give you a job there, and you come to the class while teacher is teaching, and then you help people, you adjust them. So you're like going one by one, like,
okay,
and then just like adjusting people. So you have to touch every sweaty body, and that's it. And then at the end, you just sit, and then you clean the fucking room for the teacher. So it was like my starting point, and then I saw that, and then honestly, like, the teacher I was working for was dope. She was like an older teacher. And I was honestly thinking there, like, this is really cool practice, but there needs to be something else. Like she was great, but I'm like, we need to bring the spark back into this. And I always work in a way where I see that where there's a need, and I am creating from what I want to see. So I'm like, like yoga school, like this is dope. I love the yoga philosophy. Like this teacher's dope, but like kind of bored. Like the music kind of sucks. Like she's too like, and we need to have
too traditional.
Yeah, like too traditional. And like I am all about keeping the traditions and the importance of yoga. Like I'm all about that. This is something that I teach. Like I teach yoga philosophy. I'm all about that. But like bringing it into kind of like modern, you know, because the ways of people and thinking and everything has changed. So as we evolve, like everything needs to evolve within it. Yeah.
I agree with you.
So then I was like, I'm gonna, and then of course I had like a rock bottom. I used to like work at the club, like you remember this. So I worked at the club for a long time, like through everything, through going to college. I couldn't leave my club job.
Why was that?
Because I was making a lot of money for doing nothing, but like being cute and, you know, having a good time. So it's a no-brainer, really. And then that type of, as a really young, like in my 20s, I was like making a ton of money, being able to travel all over the world, like was able to buy myself a convertible, shit that I never thought that I could have done. You know, I used to take the bus. And then now I'm here, like, bought myself a convertible, and I'm traveling to Europe as a 22-year-old. And I kind of got hooked on that lifestyle. Yeah. And then even though I did, like, put myself through school, later on I became a paralegal. You remember that, too. Sorry.
Do you have a list of how many jobs you've had?
Yeah, I have a list. Yeah, so it's like the club, but like different things. Remember when I worked at Bar Charlotte? I was the Jello shot girl. That was before I could sell alcohol, but I was already hustling them Jello shots. Yeah. Then, you know, like bottle girl. Then I was a paralegal. It wasn't really that much. And then what else?
I don't know.
From paralegal, I went into wellness. So it just like, I don't think it was like a lot of jobs. It was like the transition was kind of like crazy. Like it didn't go together, you know?
Okay. But so being like working in a club gave you freedom.
Gave me so much freedom, which like I love, like I encourage anyone who can, you know, if you got it in you and you don't need sleep, go have that job, because it gave me so much opportunity to explore and find out really what I like to do. Like I was able not just like to travel, but explore in different ways. Like I was able to, you know, put myself through these little yoga trainings. I took myself to India. Like I was working at the club, like always drinking. That my lifestyle was just like, I'm a party girl. And that was just like it. And then at some point I started practicing yoga, and then it just wasn't clicking anymore. I was like, this is not it. Like actually, like I'm masking so much shit that I'm trying to run away from with alcohol and being the party girl. I'm like, actually, people think that I am so talkative and like I'm so like, but really I don't fucking didn't want to talk to them. Okay. I was just like wanting them to think that I was cool. I'm not sure. Like I was just like overcompensating from like what was really happening to me internally. And it was that like I didn't know who I was. And so I was just always drinking, always partying, staying up all night. And then at some point my worlds were like not computing. Like at some point it was just like, wait, it's not working out. And long story short, like it was a while where I was like, this is not it. And then I just bought a ticket to India and like never been anywhere over there even. And I actually didn't even know what school to pick. I literally Googled probably like yoga India. And I did no research, and I was just like, boop, this one. And then I just booked that shit, and then I went there. My mom actually, she had lost my little book of shots. Mm-hmm. So I had to get like all of my shots again to leave.
So if you're trying to go to India, you have to get shots.
Yeah, get your mom to go under the colchón and get your shit. If it's not there, you have to like get...
Do it over again?
Yeah, so I went to India. It was a super like shocking...
How was it? I'm trying to picture how, like, as soon as you get out of the airport.
So it's really beautiful. And the air is like...
I've heard it smells bad.
It smells weird, and the smell is kind of the least of it, really.
Okay.
But sometimes you can't even see people because the pollution is like is like dust and But that's...
Or was it Mumbai?
No. So I went to Rishikesh, which was like the La Cuna del Yoga, like when yoga like was born.
Okay.
So I was like, I picked the right spot, thank God. And I went there and I did my 200 hours. So when I came back, while I was there, I was like, yes, actually, I do want to do this. Like, I don't know, something happened, but I know for sure that when I came back to Charlotte, I was like, I'm teaching. Like, I'm teaching this month, like in 2 weeks.
So experiencing the environment, like, it amplified what you wanted to do?
I'm not sure if that's what... I think that maybe I just honestly got sick of my own excuses. Like who cares? Like, just say that you want to do it. Like, I think that I was so caught up in being like the hot party girl that I wasn't sure how I was going to be perceived. Now that all of a sudden I'm like a hippie that like wants to meditate and care so much about this, and I think that I was like really worried about how I would be perceived. So I didn't like... I was trying to like slowly do like a little shift instead of just going balls deep because of other people. And then at some point during my trip, I'm like, who the fuck cares about anyone really? But like, if I want to be like, if I feel like I hate my fucking job and I'm like in my fucking office, like I'm not an office person.
Were you, when you made that transition, were you criticized?
Yes, of course I was. Nobody invited me to none of their birthday parties. I became sober. It was like not cool. Imagine being a sober bottle girl.
Didn't make any sense.
No, and it didn't make sense. And to be honest, I feel like seeing so many people act stupid and be drunk was like, ew, you're right. Like, that's what I do. Oh, qué vergüenza. Like,
Gotcha.
I'd be like, I was like, I got to see it being sober, and like, I was like, that's not what I want to be. That's not who I am.
So going to India was like before and after for you?
Yeah. It was, I think that I wanted, like the transition had been already happening within me, and that at some point it was just a push that you just got, like, it doesn't matter, like it felt so natural for me to be a teacher. In fact, like I remember as a kid thinking that I wanted to be a teacher of something because I love explaining concepts. So I was like, oh, like maybe this is it, like, so yeah, like going to India and then coming back, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna teach. And I had like some really crazy experiences. Like I found out that at my studio where I was working as a assistant, so I came back and I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm ready for my audition. And then they're like, audition? Like, we only hire people that have graduated from our school. Because,
yeah.
And then I was like, what? Nobody could, like, I have been talking about this trip to India. Like, no one could have told me. Like, great mentors. Thanks, y'all. So I was really upset. Like, I could not believe that. I couldn't believe it. Now, it makes sense because now I know that there's so much more to it, but it's a business, not just that, but like if you want somebody to be teaching a certain style of yoga, that's what you want and that's your business. But as like, kid that was like pissed off.
Of course.
I was like, fuck y'all. So I decided that I was going to start just teaching at this rose garden.
Okay.
So I went there. It was near my house in Noda, and in Plaza Midwood. And then I just went up there one day, and I was like, "Hey, like I want to teach yoga here. I have this thing." I actually offered them way too much more money than they needed, and I thought it was a great deal. I was like, "I'm gonna give you 40% of everything that I make," thinking like super, like I got this. And then,
But you didn't know.
But I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Yes, let's do it."
At the end of the day, that was better than nothing. Like,
Yeah.
that's when I started doing photography, and I would have an art show. The gallery would take 25%. A
Yeah.
lot of people would complain about, oh, they're taking 25% from you. I'm like, dude, it's 75% of a sale or zero.
Sí.
So I'd rather take their platform,
Yeah.
give them 25% and make a bunch of sales. So
Yeah, and it was like more of like what I really needed was experience, and I sold the bitch out. I sold my first class, sold out. I was able to bring a ton of people from the club, which I was like, wait, something's happening here. So like maybe there is a reason why I'm like have been working in the club for 100 years. Like there is like a transit. There is like something here. Like I was just like, there's something here. Like these people from the club, like they still care about how they look, and they need a little mindset and they need a little mindfulness. But they can't go somewhere where it's like super zenned out, where it's like too much, and they're like, where the fuck am I?
oh, so I'm getting what you're.
Yes.
So I get what yoga chilla now. Okay,
Yes.
so I wanna hear more about this.
Yes. So my first yoga class happened at this rose garden. So all my girls from the club, they showed out for me. Like all these people came, and then from there I just started having my class weekly. I was teaching 2 classes a week at Freedom Park. So I would have like classes at Freedom Park, and then I started to do like little things that I thought were fun. So at some point I got everybody like these like pops at the end. So like the class was over and like everybody's in Shavasana, and I would like bring pops and everybody's like eating ice cream now. Like just like little things. And then at some point I started bringing glitter, and I'm like, okay, like the theme is like this, and then the theme is this now. And then every week there was like a different theme, and then at some point I was just like, I'm gonna dress crazy, like I'm gonna be in a bikini. I'm like, bikini yoga, it's summer at Freedom Park. So it just started that way, where I was just having a good time, and I was just sharing the practice that I really loved, but making it more accessible to like regular people.
Yeah.
So that anyone can benefit from the practice of yoga and mindfulness, and it doesn't always have to be so like woo-woo, because it is, and you can get there, but you need like baby steps.
Yeah. Something that you mentioned is that you were kind of hiding who you were when you were at the club. You were pretending to be this party monster.
Yeah.
But then you're on your journey with yoga in India, and now having your first show, you're realizing who you are.
Yeah.
And you can be this party person and a yoga instructor,
Right.
and combine it.
Right. So it just like kind of started, it happened organically. Like I'm a creator. So I was seeing like, oh, I really like this, or I wish that I can go to a yoga class and people could like, I don't know, break out into dance at some point. Like if I forget my left or rights, I don't want to be like, I'm just like, everybody, let's dance. I mean, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just like found, I was just having a good time. That's really like all I can think of.
And that's who you are.
Yeah, like I'm just like, okay, so here's this practice that I love that really like saved my life, right? I love meditation. I can nerd out on all of these concepts, and moving my body has helped me like get to know myself and get out of my fucking head and into my body, and also be like, if you don't like this, I don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't care, because at the end of the day, what really matters is like my connection to myself, and that I go to sleep at night knowing that I'm a good person, and like my connection to God, source, whatever you want to call it, the universe, like that's it. And no one can tell me how spiritual I am or am not, because spirituality has nothing to do with the outside world. It's a relationship that you have with the divine.
Yeah.
So it can't not be measured.
Last night I experienced Yogacella, and you mentioned it can be for anyone pretty much, and that's what I like from it. Because I'm not into yoga. I'm not, but then I was like, this is really cool. It's like a party, but at the same time, it's a sober party.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a party means you can have fun. Doesn't mean you have to be wasted.
Yeah.
And that's what I love from it. You know, and your performance was amazing.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I told you that. And I really recommend that to everyone. Just don't feel like, oh, I have to be into yoga and I have to dress a certain way. No, like,
yeah,
people don't give a fuck.
It's like, stop labeling stuff. Like, if you're spiritual, you're spiritual.
Yeah.
Like that, no one can tell you. Like I said, it's like your connection. No one can measure that. So like, why do we go to like to practice yoga? Is to get out of your head and into your body, and to like find that connection with yourself. Like really get to know who you are. And when you get to know who you are, you can really be authentic without having to worry about what anybody else thinks. Like you know who you are, and that's all that matters.
When you identify who you are fully, how do you deal with people copying your stuff?
Oh my God, how did you fucking... Okay, so I have a few thoughts. Let me collect them. So I honestly, I'm so used to people copying my shit at this moment in my life that I have realized what I feel when people copy me is I honestly feel a little bit bad for them, because here's the thing. As an artist, as a creator, as a creatrix, the creative process, it's what lights me the fuck up. So the fact that I create something and then somebody else is just like, oh, that's good, let me just like take that. I'm like, you missed the whole opportunity for like to create. And that's why I do it. Like, I love curating things. Like every single part of that Yogacella that you came to yesterday was completely from here. Like I birthed it. Yeah, and then that was one of my favorite parts. That's one of my favorite parts from it, like the process of creating. So I say that I'm getting used to people copying me, but no, I take that back. I don't think that I will ever be, I don't think that I will ever be like totally okay with people copying me. But I see people copying me as an opportunity to level the fuck up. So I'm like, I do this shit and it's like that good that somebody just is like, oh, she's doing that, I want to do that too. And then they do it. And then I'm like, you made it lame. Like now I have to just like keep going.
It's kind of some like fuel.
Yeah.
To step it up.
Yeah. And then I know that they say that like copying is like the biggest like flattering thing or whatever the saying is. And I get it. And also I'm like,
I think there's a difference between being copied, or like when you copy someone, or when you steal.
Inspired?
No, when you steal their ideas.
Oh yeah.
Because if you tell someone your idea and they take it from you, and they say it's their idea, that's really fucked up.
Oh yeah.
But if they're copying your stuff, it means you're doing something well.
Yeah.
It's so good that they want to do it.
Yeah.
And it happens in design, it happens in fashion, it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
People copy great minds.
My husband always tells me, like, every time I'm like bitching about like some new thing happening where someone copied me, he's always like, well, like, can you blame them? Like, it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good.
I think that the key part is to make it so you that when people see it, it's like, oh, that's Camimi's work.
Yes, but also it's like, it doesn't matter who, like, if tomorrow somebody starts to do a yogacella, like, it's not gonna be the same because,
And it won't
like,
be, yeah, of course.
yeah, what do they say? Like, they can steal the recipe, but the sauce won't taste the same.
Yeah, yeah.
It just won't be because, like, people come to things for you. Like, at the end of the day, that is a really good opportunity for me to just continue to, explore different things, to always be like innovative.
Yeah.
And that's something that it like lights me up.
And haters.
Haters.
With success, like, haters come included.
Yeah.
They were part of the deal.
Yeah.
They're part of the package.
Yeah. Haters.
People have this tool of social media. They can in your DMs and be like, oh, fuck you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Has anyone told you, like, face to face?
You suck. No. That's the thing, because, like, that's the thing about haters, that, like, the people that hate on you are never people that are doing better than you. So those people are never going to come up to me or anyone and be like, you suck, because, like, they're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't think I have haters. Stop it too. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I have haters. I mean, if I do, then haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Miami,
Yeah.
the capital of Latin America.
See, so so I'm a painter. So that's one of the things that I do. So I was invited to paint for our Basel, and I went to paint Mary Magdalene. So I did a mural, and so I went to Miami with my husband, and we weren't married yet, and he hadn't been to Miami in a long time, a long time. So, and he like does not fuck with the heat. Like, he does not like the heat. So it was like, I'm never gonna move anywhere que es como Puerto Viejo. Like, never.
Yeah.
Or Miami. Same thing. Miami, Puerto Viejo, same thing.
Yeah.
So we went, and it was like our Basel, so it's the winter. So of course it was like beautiful weather. And my cousin is, we always say that he's like the dude version of me. So he's like very talkative, and he's a realtor. So he was like, oh, like, Justin, you like it here? Let me show you some condos. And then Justin was like, I don't know. And then he's like, you're in technology? Like, my husband's in technology. So he's like, you're in technology? Look, there's mad technology jobs. And
So he's sold him the whole package.
Dude, while I'm like painting in the street, like he's like working his magic there. And like, I had been wanting to move, honestly, like for so long. Even though I love Charlotte, like I just felt like I wanted to go somewhere just to explore. Like, I've just been here, So I was like ready. So my husband started like looking at like jobs, and he just like bullshit like applied to some, and like all these people call him back. Like, everybody wanted him, like like Miami technology, of course. And so
he's like, he speaks English? Oh yeah, let's hire him.
oh yeah. So then that was like around the end of November, and then so he applied for a job in December. We were going to Ecuador for Christmas, and then we did a long layover because he had a meeting, like an interview in person with one of those people, and then he got the job. So on our way, and then we like went to Ecuador, And then when we came back, they're like, yeah, you got the job. So we got married in February.
It was super quick,
And
right?
then we bought our place. We looked at 3 places and we just bought one. We're like, yeah, this is it. Perfect. Like, it's, yeah. And then we were there at the end of February.
So now, like, how do you network? How do you, like, do you have any friends? I mean, your cousin lives there.
Yeah.
But how do you, like, start over again?
Yeah. So
In a different city.
luckily I had, like I always used to travel to Miami because I really love the wellness community there.
Okay.
So every time that like there is like a lot of festival, like yoga festival party situations, and I used to actually fly to go to those. So I knew some people, and I, you know, like not really know them, but I knew some people, and I knew some IG people, you know. But I don't think that it was actually that hard, to be honest. Like to network and all that, it's really easy there, especially when you already have like a very niche like thing that you do. Like if I would have moved a long time ago when I wasn't sure like what type of yoga I wanted to teach or what I wanted to do or who the fuck I was, then I think that would have been harder. But it was at the point where, you know, I had already owned a yoga studio. Forgot that part. Yeah, at some point after the Freedom Park, I opened my own studio. So I had already like had a studio. I already kind of knew how to like manage a yoga studio, myself, others, and I kind of already knew what I wanted to do. So I don't think that it was that hard to network with people in Miami, but what it does seem harder is to have like real connections. Okay. Because even though I'm very bubbly and I am friendly, like there's a little wall that you hit at some point where I'm like,
Gotcha.
but I don't really know you.
So you did Yogacella in now space?
Yeah, so Yogacella was doing that here, then moved to Miami, and then I started to go to 420 Yoga, which is at Club Space.
So that was already happening there?
Yeah, that's been happening. So I started to go there just to practice. Like I would just go practice, and then I started to meet the team, and then at some point I was added to the teaching team. So there's like 15 teachers, and so we're in a rotation. It's a really great community. Every single Saturday there's a free yoga class at Space at 420 where people smoke weed and practice, and it's really like party yoga, very Yogacella. So it was just like, whoa, like
amplified.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is it. So started doing that. I started working at a studio in Sunset Harbor at the beach, and which I still am working there now. And then I was like, oh, I think I want to do a Yogacella here. I had only been in Miami for like 4 months, and I'm like, I think I want to do a Yogacella here, but like I think it needs to be like brand new. Like I don't think it needs to be Yogacella. I don't know if I want to teach yoga. I think that I wanted to just be like a party, but like mindfulness, maybe sound healing and like other things, but mostly like a DJ and dancing. And so I was like just toying with this idea, and then I'm like, kind of like a conscious banger. And then I'm like,
duh.
The conscious banger. So the conscious banger was born. So I linked up with a new friend that I met in the community who also taught ecstatic dance. And then I'm like, hey, look, like you teach ecstatic dance, that's dope. I can do sound healing, can also teach like movement, and I also have like all this experience like putting together events. So like I already have a website, like we can just do this. So the Conscious Banger was born. It's a big party, conscious party. So it starts with a little movement, then it goes into just a party, and then it ends in a sound healing meditation when everybody's like super tired. And then that, of course, like evolved into the antidote, which is the same, very similar experience, but for ladies only. So we start with speed friending. So, like I said, I'm creating from what I want to see. So it's like, I kind of want to make some friends, like lady girlfriends, and they need to be into yoga and like all this stuff. And they don't necessarily have to be completely sober, but like this is a sober party. So at the beginning of the antidote, people come in and we do speed friending. I hope nobody in Charlotte starts doing this because then I will know you copied me. Anyways, so speed friending, it's like speed dating, but for friends. And the night starts this way. There's always a theme. So people are dressed in like different themes. I really like fairy core. So usually some fairy stuff. So speed friending, then we move into a movement part. At some point I was like, I'm so tired of curating, like, you know, not just like curating and creating the whole experience, but then also being there to teach it. I was like, I'm tired. By the end, I was so tired. So I started to hire other people to come do some of the parts. So I'm like, okay, for the movement part, I don't want to teach yoga because I want to do the sound healing at the end. So I got another teacher. I was like just looking for teachers that did cool, fun workouts. So then there's this lady that I met, and she's like, she is a twerk teacher. So I'm like, you're hired. So she does twerk therapy. So and then twerk 101. So it was great. So she came in, she taught 45 minutes. It's cool because also you don't have to, it's not yoga, you don't have to get on the ground, so you can still be cute. You don't have to be wearing the outfit, like a yoga outfit. So after the movement, then we have the ecstatic dance. So like people are just dancing, there's a DJ, and then after that, everybody lays down for the sound healing part.
You're pretty much a creative director.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like what I'm stepping into more now is like the curation of events and like wellness events,
Like
because
moving pieces here and there.
yeah, because I realized that I have so many great ideas. Like I really, like some days I wake up and I'm like, this is a great idea. Literally yesterday I woke up and I texted my friend. I was like, yo, tell me if I'm crazy or does this sound really cool? And I told her this idea and she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
The crazier it sounds, the better.
Yeah, I'm like, well, nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna do it.
Like I asked you, like when you came back to Charlotte, it's like, how do you feel about being in Charlotte? And you told me this, and that. And I'm like, well, there's an opportunity there. Like
Yeah.
you should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So traveling is, it opens your mind to many things. Like when you went to India, now you're in Miami, you got this platform,
Yeah.
all these connections. And being in Miami, you've taught like cool people and famous people.
Yeah, you can say it. I'm
Like,
Diplo's
was it
teacher.
Diplo? You're Diplo's teacher now? Tell me about it. How do you land that job?
So, it's just like a friend of a friend, really. A friend was like, literally texted me, was like, are you available today? And I was like, ¿cómo que para qué? He's like, oh, teach Diplo. I'm like, I'm there. I'm coming right now. Really cool. I mean, Diplo's dope and like he's hot. So I was like, oh, fuck. And also I have been around like famous people from the club like that.
Yeah.
So I know not to be like, So that really helped me. I was like, dude, at the end of the day, the club really taught me so many lessons. Like that is like,
You know, I've talked with so many people and they've had odd jobs or certain stages in their lives that prepare them to who they are now. Mm-hmm. The club was your college.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Bar Charlotte.
Yeah. And it's gone. Many people.
I know,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
fucked
exist
up.
anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Camimi, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Finally, we've been talking about doing this for a while, but thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Anything you want to say to people copying your shit?
Oh, You're just trying to fuck with me.
Yeah.
So I have like a really beautiful advice, and it's like, give yourself an opportunity to explore. Like I said, I've had really great ideas. I've also had like really not good ideas, and I've had really good ideas that didn't turn out well. But the thing is that I'm not so caught up on the result. I am in love with the creative process. Like I'm like, I die for that shit. So as long as you keep creating and you keep challenging yourself, then there's really no loss, right? Like you said, all the jobs prepared me for this. Like, I don't think that any of those jobs were like for no reason. Like every single one was like, got me a little bit closer. You know, I was a paralegal. I was somebody's bitch doing mad bitch work and getting no credit. And that taught me so much organization skills. Like it taught me like calendars, like attention to detail. So every single thing that you do is a stepping stone to a better version of yourself. We never stop evolving. Like we will always continuously grow. And don't be so caught up on the results, and just create for the sake of creating, because that's where the juice is. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And if you're still watching, remember to go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dale Dale Podcast. Bye.
Del uno al otro, no